So good evening and welcome to everyone, and especially our guest speaker today, who's also a member and a joint secretary for this year, Professor Dr. I.S. Duaji. We have several guests today. I'm sorry if I miss out anyone. You could actually unmute and just mention your name if I miss out. We do have Professor G.S. Kant here. We have Professor S.K. Bhatnagar, Professor Purananda. We have Harvinder Arora, we have Bhupinder Singh ji, we have Vinita and Kavita joining in also. They are Luthra ma'am's daughters. If I missed anyone, could you please sort of identify yourself? I'm not able to get all the names here. I see Arun Verma also here. So, and Dr. A.S. Aluwalia, Dr. Manu. So several guests. I'm sorry if I missed anyone, but you could just put it on the chat box. Good evening to all of you. Welcome to our meeting this evening. As always, we start the meeting with invocation, and I would like to invite Rotarian Anjali Chabra for the invocation for this evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
आज का इन्वोकेशन मैं सोच रही थी कि क्या बोला जाए, तो फिर मुझे लगा कि एक बड़ी अच्छी सी फैज साहब की कविता है जो मैं सुनाना चाहूंगी। हम बड़े मुश्किल कोरोना के दौर से गुजरे, सेकंड वेव बहुत ही ज्यादा डेडली रही और उम्मीद है कि ये सेकंड वेव अभी थोड़ा सा जैसे थम रही है तो बहुत जल्दी ये थम जाए और थर्ड वेव आई ना। तो इसी दुआ के साथ मैं ये छोटी सी कविता आप सबको सुनाने जा रही हूँ। चलो फिर से मुस्कुराएं, चलो फिर से दिल जलाएं, जो गुजर गई हैं रातें उन्हें फिर जगा के लाएं, जो बिसर गई हैं बातें उन्हें याद में बुलाएं। चलो फिर से दिल लगाएं, चलो फिर से मुस्कुराएं, किसी शहनशी पे झलकी वो धनक किसी कबा की, किसी रग में कसमसाई वो कसक किसी अदा की, कोई हरफे बेमुरव्वत किसी कूंजे लब से फूटा, वो छनक के शीशाए दिल तहे बाम फिर से टूटा। ये मिलन की ना मिलन की, ये लाइन बिल्कुल कोरोना के टाइम पे सूट करती है। ये मिलन की ना मिलन की, ये लगन की और जलन की, ये सही है वारदातें जो गुजर गई हैं रातें, जो बिसर गई हैं बातें कोई इनकी धुन बनाए, कोई इनका गीत गाए, चलो फिर से मुस्कुराएं, चलो फिर से दिल लगाएं। इस दुआ के साथ कि अब हम बिल्कुल थर्ड वेव जैसा सब डॉक्टर्स कह रहे हैं, खुदा करे कोई ऐसा मिरेकल हो और वो थर्ड वेव कभी ना आए और हम ऐसे ही मुस्कुराएं और फिर से एक बार मिलें। इसी दुआ के साथ मैं यही दुआ मैं भगवान से मांग रही हूँ और आप सब भी मुझे आई एम श्योर यही दुआ कर रहे होंगे। सब अब यही चाहते हैं कि अब हम सब एक दूसरे से मिलें। आप सब की तरफ से खुदा को आमीन भी बोलना चाहूंगी कि जल्दी से ये दुआ कबूल हो जाए। और आज की बात मैं यही अपनी खत्म करूंगी। संजय सर, ओवर टू यू।
थैंक यू सो मच।
थोड़ा सा मैं, खुदा जो देता है उससे कबूल कर लो, कभी कांटों में भी फूल खिल जाते हैं।
बिल्कुल सही बात।
कभी कांटों में भी फूल खिल जाते हैं। धन्यवाद।
जरूर कांटों में खिलते हैं सर फूल। वेरी नाइस कैंसर।
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kansa, for putting that in also. And thank you, Rotary Anjali. You know, we have been having virtual meetings for practically the whole year. And I think it is invocation like this which helps us to bring cheer around and also, you know, our prayers and gratitude to the Almighty to keep things safe and healthy for everyone. That was a wonderful invocation. Thanks so much, Anjali. I also extend invitation to Major General Arun Verma. So welcome to our meeting. This week we have had a few activities which I'll just very briefly bring to your notice. We have had the COVID Rasoi running for the past few weeks. We have had the COVID kitchen and COVID care that's been running for past few weeks and in good strength, serving meals to the COVID patients and also the frontline workers. Earlier this week on Tuesday, we inaugurated a rainwater harvesting project in the Dev Samaj College in Sector 45. And then there was a mother and child care project done at Civil Hospital 6 for the mothers and newborn children, a nutrition diet. This is to be running every month. And also this evening, just an hour ago, with support from our community service director, Pastor Kanan Devanji, we have contributed to a dialysis machine in Sector 52. This is a Guru Granth Sahib Seva Society, which already runs a dialysis center, and we've installed one machine today, and we have plans to install several more machines in the near future. We are working on the funding part of that, and the idea is to reduce the queue, the waiting time that patients have, and as well as the costs. This project is going to be very significant in the long run if we can go ahead with our dream of putting 5-6 machines for this particular phase, and probably make it much bigger later on. So thank you to everyone who has contributed for all the projects that I've mentioned and have been contributing throughout the year for whenever we have asked for support, both financially and also moral support. With this, I would like to now come to our main session for this evening, and I would like to request our past President Kanan Devanji and Community Service Director to kindly introduce our speaker for this evening. Kananji, you just have to see you're unmuted.
Am I audible?
Hanji ma'am, please, yes.
President Sanjay Bhatia, the guests of the evening, and my dear Rotary family. I do not really know how does one introduce a family member like Dr. Dua. Professor Dr. R.S. Dua is a dear friend to all of us, a distinguished Rotarian for the past 12 years, has served Rotary on different assignments with distinction and commitment. He and his family, they are all generous donors and donate liberally for humanitarian projects. Presently, he is the Joint Secretary of the Board of Rotary Chandigarh Midtown. He is a very learned scholar, and Professor Dr. R.S. Dua is Professor of Eminence and is the former Chairman, Department of Botany, Panjab University, Chandigarh. Subsequent to his 30-year stint at the Panjab University, Professor Dua has been a consultant to Monsanto USA for the past 9 years. He is a product of IARI New Delhi, from where he did his MSc and PhD as a gold medalist. He was the winner of Rockefeller Foundation New York Fellowship from 1969 to 1973. Professor Dua has many prestigious awards and honors to his credit. And because of the paucity of time, I cannot mention everything, but I tell you, he's a great genius and a great scholar. Professor Dua has been visiting professor to the University of Oxford, London, visiting fellow at US Department of Agriculture, Washington, DC, visiting professor at University of Calgary, Canada, also a visiting professor to the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, Shimla, Life Fellow of French Society for Plant Technology. He has been a member on the Biotechnology Advisory Board for Chandigarh Administration. Professor Dr. Dua was former president of Society for Plant Research, India, fellow of French Society for Plant Physiology and member International Plant Growth Regulator Association. He is a fellow of United Writers Association. He has been invited as speaker at pivotal national and international conferences to the promotion of plant sciences. In the last 4 years, he has given around 200 lectures at different forms as an integral keynote speaker on the aforementioned subjects. He is a life member of the international societies. Professor Dr. Dua has 84 international and national journals devoted to his subjects. He was chief editor of Panjab University Research Journal for 3 years. He is on the editorial advisory board of an international journal. Professor Dua was the principal investigator of 5 major research projects funded by Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Defense, Government of India. Dr. Dua, Rotary Chandigarh Midtown feels proud to have you as our worthy member and a very distinguished one. Over to Dr. Dua, please. Dr. Dua, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Kanan. Am I audible, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Kanan. I become emotional after hearing such nice words from you. Today's talk is basically meant to brush some of the scientific dogmas, scientific events which have happened, to wash away some of the myths which have ruled this planet for thousands and thousands of years. It's basically a very fundamental lecture because I know my friends in Rotary, they come from heterogeneous groups. Some are lawyers, some are businessmen, industrialists, and some come from the different walks of life, and some of the ladies who are just away from science but are totally committed scholars. So it is in that context I planned this small presentation to show that there is much to know and appreciate life with science, with the basic fundamental sciences, which have evolved in the last 2000 years or so. So let me start in a very, very preliminary way to feel that how this has evolved that way. Can I share my screen, please?
No problem. Yes,
yeah.
it started. It
Yeah.
started, Dua, sir.
Now, I'm starting at a very zero level. That is why one of the members was saying that I'll call my budding children, budding scientists. But now what happened is that this is what Lochen, it was at Lochen we were there. And this is the one that sun is in the center, and we have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune and Pluto, which was reduced to the level of an asteroid for about 50 years, but now it is back one of the planets. If you visit New York, NASA office, 36-storied building, more than double the size of Qutb Minar, has on LED lights like this, but it keeps on saying that these are the 9 planets, starting with the sun, which keeps on orbiting the solar system and we are. This is how a virtual, a sort of a movement of the mind has helped us to come to this particular level, which has done tremendously positive things so far as the sciences are concerned. Another concept which was linked to our history is that the life is like a ladder. Somewhere at the end it is an hierarchy. Somewhere down is a very, very simple microorganism like bacteria, viruses, and all that. As you go higher and higher and higher and higher, you find complex and complex organism. And at the top is man. This is our probably Sanjay Bhatia saying that I'm the president of this and I'm most powerful. And maybe that Chopra Sahib says on the 1st of July, no, he is coming down and I'm going up. I'm the most, but this is an hierarchy. This is an hierarchy. This was a concept which was given to us by Aristotle and remained for 900 years in the history of man. And even some of the religious books also said that the word is firmly established. This is Bible 104 Gospel point 5. It cannot be moved. It cannot be moved. And nothing on this ladder or this ladder can be destroyed. But to the surprise of man's observation, what happened? They saw that the last dodo was seen in 1681. 1680. Before that, they were all jumping and dancing like the queens, like an opera. But then all of a sudden they disappeared. They disappeared. Look at even the skeleton of this one. This one is buried in a mortuary in one of the universities of UK, Edinburgh University, where they have 18 acres mortuary of those plants and animals which ruled the planet during the Renaissance period. That means 16th century, 17th century. You open the door of this coffin, inside will be dodo, and it will give a typical computer generated voice like this, something like that, and saying that I am no longer available. Look at the skeleton of this even I in the cap, I putting on the cap is watching this one and seeing that this is the real skeleton of dodo which ruled this Mauritius and all Atlantica islands as one of the major animals of this one. And everyone in the circle of natural history, science started believing that extinction is possible. Extinction was accepted as the word was given by Owen, a British archaeologist, a British paleontologist, that extinction is possible. One of the things on the ladder was said that nothing can change. Any species which has been created on ladder cannot go wrong because it is a God's creation. And if this is going wrong, that means God is wrong, but God cannot be wrong. So that is why the species has to stay there. That means this is to something new, to something strange, nothing can happen. They said it was believed that if this is a giraffe, this is the concept given by Humboldt, who used to say that anything which has been created will stay at its place. There is, in a simple word, there is a fixation of a species. It cannot disappear. But a gentleman by the name of Charles Darwin went around the world, going from England, from the Southampton port for 6 years and 2 days, starting his journey on 27th of December, 1831, at the age of 21, goes around the world and visits. These are some of the islands which he was. This is South America. He writes, and I quote it, he says, there is a grandeur in this view of life, with its several powers being originally breathed by the Creator into few forms or into one. And while this earth has gone on cycling according to the fixed laws of gravity, from so simple beginning, endless form, most beautiful and most wonderful, have been and are being evolved. The most important line in this whole paragraph of his is that the most wonderful are being evolved. They have originated by the fixed laws of gravity. And to put it, he goes into the caves of Andes. Look at one of the caves where he finds that the cockroach fossil was about 2 meters. 2 meters means roughly 7 feet. But at present, the cockroach is of this size, but measures the characters of this one, and he says this particular cockroach has given birth to this one. And he says, every species is connected to the other species. Every species is connected to the other species in a fundamental way, And the life is like not a ladder, but life is like a tree. Everything is connected. Even the man is not at the top. The top you find so many, and everything. Life is like a tree. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, the observation, the keenness of the observation matters quite a lot. There was a gentleman, a British scientist, Gordon. He was sitting at the lake, which I'll bring this story a little later. But at that time, the concept was that what is human life? What is carnal man created by? Is it by God? How she has come on this planet? It was that it is the theory of organogenesis, that different organs like hand, feet, skull, skeleton, they have been assembled by the Almighty and put and formed into either a man or a woman and a human being like that. This was the theory. But a simple microscopist, the one who was an optician, looked through a lens, through this particular lens. This is Robert Hooke. He looked through that. The year is 1665, roughly 400 years back. He looks and says that whenever I see anything which has been a part of life, looks like this, these small compartments. Life is not of the organ, but life is that of small cubicles, which we call it as cell, which we call it as the cell. 150 years took to find the totality, and you are all lucky to see that out of the 37 billion cells which your body supports, one of them looks like that. It's the structure of that particular part, with so many minute structures which have come to show their own role in life. Like if I move it 4 times, you will find the fully functional cell, that with the nucleus in the center and the cell. This is what one of the 37 billion component of yours. You have one of the which is supporting life. It was this particular this nucleus which was taken further apart with the help of physics development with the electronic microscope. And I'm trying to make it very simple. Look at this, the nucleus, and in that 4 times something is fluorescing, something light is showing, which we call it as the chromosome sort of a thing. Chromosomes of one lady, this lady, Rosalind Franklin, just take the 58 pictures of this very chromosome and find that this is probably the structure of this molecule, which she calls it as a DNA molecule. These 2 gentlemen, Watson and Crick, they discover the structure of the DNA they form, which in totality, in functionality, forms what is called as a gene. And they get the Nobel Prize in 1962, discovering these things in 1953. This is how the gene came into existence, that life is nothing but an acting stage for 30,000, only 30,000 genes. How does this look? But work goes ahead. In the next 30 years, they find that in the Human Genome Project, they find the structure of every gene, the alphabets of every gene's alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because the alphabets are only 4 in number. They find this and they give it as a book of life. Tony Blair and Bill Clinton says, today we are learning the language of God. Today in which God created life. And the book is out of the every spelling of every gene. What are the spelling of let us say club, C-L-U-B, इसी तरह gene for insulin spellings are this. That time cartoon appears in the Nature leading journal of UK, which says that, look, he says, God, this is God shown to be God God, the agent of the God says, God, the human genome code has been unraveled. God is very angry. Bhagwan ji bahut naraz hai. He says, damn hackers, now I have to change the password. If I talk about the gene at the very simple level to my those ladies, those club members, how does it look like? You are again lucky to see that the gene looks like that. This is the real functional, visual, virtual, diagrammatic representation of that. This is the structure. These are all the languages here. But ladies and gentlemen, please remember that this gene is very fragile, very fragile. It can be destroyed immediately by radiation. So keep yourself away from high radiation. Even some of the radiation coming from some of the iPhones, they also destroy that one. With the age, they go down. With the age, this gene structure, that is why men become very prone to prostate cancer above 60. Women become very prone to breast cancer around 45, as soon as 50, as soon as they touch menopause. And chemicals like tobacco, dark, and all things. But lately, even the pathogens like viruses, they break this one. As a result, there is a dysfunctioning. And if this dysfunctioning is not auto-repairable, it develops into cancer. The observation power I was talking, there was a gentleman, Gordon, he was sitting at the lake, one of the best places in UK. One of the best places is the Lake District in UK, where this Gordon gentleman was sitting one day. To his very meditating mood, he finds that, okay, let's one minute, we forget that part. Previous part. Ladies and gentlemen, let me dedicate today we remember previous. Today is on this day, on 11th of June, scientists read the last of the genetic material of bacterium which causes tuberculosis. Here just before starting the lecture, I was thinking that it took only 10 days for this COVID virus, whose genetic material is RNA, to read its language. And it took 10 years for us in 90s to read the language of the gene. How much we have advanced. On 1st of February 2020, the virus was isolated. And on the 11th of February, its code was unraveled. Its language was read. Now, coming back to this power of observation, he's sitting somewhere here, ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman Gurdon. He sees that there are plenty of eggs lying on the shore of the lake. One of the eggs, this is eggs of frog, one of the sperm comes from nowhere to hit one of the eggs. After going through all the eggs, it hits one of the eggs, gets itself dissolved, and a fertilized zygote, a fertilized embryo is formed, which in 2 days' time gives rise to a tadpole larva, and that jumps out Angela. His thinking goes that why an egg should be waiting for the sperm to meet that one, to produce a new one. Why can't we take one of the cells from frog's body and then put it in an egg whose own nucleus has been removed, put it in the Petri plate, and then give rise to, and this he does in 14 days and produces a frog out of one of the cells taken from the body of toad. He does this experiment repeatedly. This is Gordon, who got the Nobel Prize in 1962, with multiple cell nucleus taken from the skin of the frog, and find that at a given time, 13 frogs can be immediately produced from the body of the frog only. We in science call it as cloning. This cloning was applied to mammals. We are all mammals, ladies and gentlemen. When in 1997, Dolly was announced. Dolly is a cloned product. Dolly is a cloned product which was named after Dolly Parton. And Wilmot was the creator. This is Wilmot. This is the University of Edinburgh, Scotland, is with me here. And we find that Dolly the sheep was one of the cells which was taken from the body of the sheep, put into the uterus of the another female surrogate, and then produces that one. That is how this particular rare creation was made by man only, announced on this 22nd February, but otherwise born on 1996. They use this particular concept further to produce, why not to produce more cells from one cell, which we call it as a cloning. Let's look at this theory. No nucleus, one nucleus taken from the body of, let us say, Sanjay Bhatia, one nucleus removed, put into a empty cell, clone, just put it into the Petri plate and make thousands of cells like this. We call it as the stem cell. The beauty about these stem cells is that these cells become what they are because where they are. If you put in Sanjay's pancreas, they will become pancreatic cell. If I put it in his heart, it will become heart cell. If I put it in his alimentary canal, they will start secreting juices which will digest the food. This will go on like these cells become what they are because where they are. These are the cloning part, and this is how cloning can be used not for the eggs, not from the eggs, but even from the taking a cell from the cow, or they are taken from rabbit, remove its nucleus. This is Sanjay Bhatia's body. We have taken a nucleus from that, put it in Petri plate for 7 days. We produce about thousands and thousands of cells, which we call it a stem cell, which have the property of becoming what they are because we are there. Scientists have cautioned that if Prasadua, your group or you people, they keep on doing like that, they produce a man like this one day, which is very horrifying, which we call it as the hybrid people. But the things goes on, and stem cells are really very good source these days for medical treatment. One of the best sources of these stem cells is what we call it as the dental cavities and dental stem cells also, which the dentists are knowing these days. These stem cells can also be used for longevity, how to increase the age. Look at this lady, sorry, again. Look at this age she is having. Today my son in UK was saying that a call is coming to me. The lady says that I have got the wrinkle on her face. Can I remove this wrinkle? I said to you, watch today's evening's lecture. I don't know whether he is there or not, but if she takes the 6 injections of the stem cells, which have been taken from an aborted embryo, aborted developing baby. Look at this one. This is developing baby in the womb of mother after about 12 to 16 weeks. If this aborts, this placenta and this body is one of the richest source of stem cell. These cells in liquid form, they are given at 6 places. And please mark my words. Please, this is a real picture to see that this lady after treatment of 3 months becomes like she is 64 years old. And this is young forever. This is one of the commercialization of the stem cell which I have exploited, which has not been accepted by Catholic Church. When Pope, His Excellency Pope say, look at this one. This is someone and not something. This is someone and not something. Please remember, this baby is someone to whom you have aborted. This was quite a long, has been exploited in Panjab also, when they wanted only the male child, and they used to abort the female child like that, and then these placenta were thrown, which were used by some other people as the source of stem cell, as the source of stem. Look at another interesting story. Let's leave this one. A boon. This gentleman also got the Nobel Prize. He is Robert Edward. This lady, Leslie Brown, at the age of 42, comes to this doctor, medical scientist doctor, that Doctor, Robert, I want a child at this age. He says, never mind. He harvests an egg from the body of this lady. This is a story which happened in 1972 only, and looks for a donor of sperm from the bank. And believe me that in the very first attempt, this girl, this is the first baby born in the world, Lucy Brown, on July 25, who is a test tube baby, harvests the egg from her, takes a donor sperm from the donor, and this Lucy Brown is born. First baby was born in 1978. That's quite early. That's quite very recent. And the second baby, Indra, was born in India. That's what I tell my research scholars, students all around, that science travels very fast. The first baby is born in 1978, but in 79, Indra is born. Indra as a baby in Hinduja Hospital, Mumbai, as an IVF child. This is how IVF happened. But one of the best benefits to the science of the IVF was that as you fertilize the egg with the sperm, you have 2 to 3 days in which you are to transfer it to the mother's womb. 3 days. 5 days are maximum, but usually on 3 days. What the science does is that they screen all the 30,000 genes of that would be baby, would be embryo, and find that is there any problem to that one? If there is no problem, is there all the genes are effective like that? And this is how if they find that it is okay, it's okay, only then they transfer. That is called as a pre-implementation genetic diagnosis. And this is what was done with this one: Down syndrome, test sex, BRCA, breast cancer, Huntington, and so many other genes were screened, rejected, and then it was implanted. This is how, not only in the embryos, the screening of the genes, even in the grown-up as a blood screening also matters quite a lot. And in this list is wonderful is our Angelina Jolie, who just went for a blood test, and she was told that her BRCA gene, breast cancer is because of 2 genes, BRCA1, BRCA2. She was told that both BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes are not working. Immediately she goes for mastectomy, she goes for the removal of the breast. And even in today's television, NDTV1, NDTV morning, and yesterday, it was this Angelina Jolie who was talking. What I want to say that when these things are popularized, more people become conscious. When Angelina Jolie was diagnosed with BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes deficiency, believe me that 3.2 lakhs, 500,000 ladies in America, they went for that one, and out of that, 42% were found to have a defective BRCA gene, and this in science is called as the Angelina effect. This is called as Angelina effect. Angelina effect is very important. Even in India also, this lady actress has worked like that, because she was diagnosed to be having the BRCA gene absent as a film star. क्या नेपाल के वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर की बेटी Manisha Koirala. We should be India should be calling it a Manisha Koirala effect. And remember Carl Sagan saying, it's for all of us, all 40 people who are sitting here at this stage, take the message that advances in medicine. Corona is just one of the curse, but science has overcome that one. Advances in medicine and agriculture have saved vastly more lives than have been lost in all the wars in history. What does this 25 minutes lecture proves? That in case you, while appreciating life through incredible sciences, all the sciences, life sciences, nothing makes sense except in the light of evolution. We have to think that it is all connected life, that a bacteria, a cockroach, this one is the part of my tree. And if I disturb that one, anything, it's all evolution. Look at the wonderful picture of us, which we created and got the award also, that how does the evolution look like? The evolution means chalte rahe. Then look at this one. Look at this one, perpetually in search of improved genome. Look at this one. This is what that man or woman, life, here you can put any organism. They are all moving, and this is what we call it as evolution. It tends to be simple. Those animals which lived in caves have lost their eyesight because they did not use it. You use it or lose it. That is only the beauty in this one. Look at, I leave the next slide. This is a beautiful slide. This monkey ape is in the University of Edinburgh, I have seen. I'm so impressed with the words which it written below it. This is Darwin book on origin of species he is reading. It's an evening 6:30 in September in Edinburgh is a very, very daisy day. It's a day which becomes a sort of a twilight time, night time. I remove my turban and put it and take the picture where down below it is written, all differences in this word are of degree and not of any kind, because oneness is the secret of everything. Oneness is the secret of everything. Look at the words of Charles Darwin here, being read by this ape, and also impresses me. Remove my turban and then oneness. And the last slide, if you look at this one here, look at this. Here is a man. Here is our, let me see, one of the audience member, Luther Saab. Luther Saab is standing here. Luther Saab is here. But when we look at the fungus which is growing on his tongue, I hope it never grows, but if this fungus, Ascomycetes, is growing, if I separate the gene out of this fungus, 20% of the genes are the same as that contained in man here. If I compare these genes with the Drosophila, with the fruit fly, they are 50% same as that of this one. And if I measure, this is a Cannon ma'am here, and if I measure the genes of this monkey with that of genes present in Cannon ma'am or IS Dua's body genome, we find that 99.1% are same. Look at his actions, his reaction when his computer is not working. As half an hour back, I was fighting with my computer or requesting Shruti to put it on. This is how. And remember the words here, what this man, Watson said, Watson and Crickwalla, Watson said, please, he says, I think everyone should put these words around his bedroom when they read, in each of us, there is a little of all of us. In each of us, there is a little of all of us. This is what is the reality of the life. And look, Carl Sagan say, when you explore the science, when we are exploring the knowledge of science, we all, Rotarian, not only Rotarian, everyone becomes strong enough for social responsibility. A social responsibility hamari kya hai? Which you have done today also by donating this one, because you believed in this one. If you are living with the ego, you will say, I am at the top of pyramid. That ladder which you have seen 20 minutes back, I am at the top of the pyramid, or I am the steerer, I am the driver of this world. No, not at all, because that time you are living with the ego. But if you live with the sciences, you will say, all life on earth is connected. All life on earth is connected, and I am one of the component of that one. And I must believe that looking at all the natural ecosystem, biodiversity, and this one, you are, therefore I am. Always says in front of the biodiversity part that you are, therefore I am. You are, therefore I am. What is called in Hindi, in mythology, in Hindu mythology also, Soham, and read. What a theoretical physicist, theoretical physicist, Stephen Hawking, dying in 2018, 3 years back. 1 month before, in his book, Time, he writes this part and says loudly in the hospital when he's fighting on the deathbed. These are his words, always appeals to me. I have put it at many places in my laboratory, my places of study, even in Monsanto, where I was working for 8 years. Look at that. He says, we are all pieces of the one universe. Correct? We are all pieces of one universe. I am you. You are me. We are the ocean. We are the sky. We are the birds and the moon. It's all made of same energy. We should stop seeing. We should stop seeing us. Come on. We should stop seeing ourselves as separate. Stephen Hawking, 2017, 1 year before he dies. That shows the unity of the life like a tree, everything is connected. Please do believe it and go and preserve the biodiversity in which the key to everything lies. Thank you very much. With that, we finished. That's all the presentation. Thanks. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for 5 minutes interruption.
Wonderful lecture, Professor Dua. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's all because
we are gained so much.
If there are
चाहे साइंस आती नहीं है, पर आज काफी आ गई साइंस. Thank you so much.
It was really very interesting, Professor Dua. It's very good.
I must say, Professor Dua is Bhagat of science. People say Bhagat of God. He is Bhagat of science.
Oh, so sweet of you. So, any question if you have, please come up.
Very nicely summarized and presented, Professor Dua.
Thank you very much, Professor. I was thinking that when I'm going to talk to so fundamental level, what is going to be new for Professor Gupta, but I know it's going to, for you, it was just a itching sort of a thing. कि कहाँ पहुँच गया मैं तो बहुत छोटी-छोटी बातें हो गई.
No. Actually, all advancements come from fundamentals.
We want to talk only CAT cat and RAT rat and BAT bat. That's, you're right. And it's a privilege to have you.
My pleasure.
Well, your quotation that in all of us, there's a bit of everyone. This is what is your quotation.
Yes.
This is what अव्वल अल्लाह नूर पाया कुदरत के सब बंदे एक ही में हैं. धन्यवाद जी.
सारे बंदे नहीं, सारी स्पीच सब कुछ. Can साहब, I carry 97,000 viruses within my body. Viruses, the genomes of viruses, and those are, some of them are working and some are not working. So I have everything. This is we call, along with microbiota. The day you will hear in your life in the next 10 years that it is not cancer gene or it's Dua's gene. It is the gene of his genes plus the genes of microorganisms which are working. And Dr. Deepak Chopra in USA is working very, very seriously on this microbiota. So much so that the lady, the child who's it's a little embarrassing to all of you. The child whose diarrhea is not getting controlled is given the poo tablet taken from the mother that contains microorganisms, genomes of the bacteria. Yes, Bora Sahab, your grandchildren are there. I want them to, because they were very curious to know few things. Come on, if you have any questions.
Haji Dua Sahab, my granddaughters are with me. They have listened to your complete lecture very, very attentively, and they are very happy. They are Ananya and Anushka. Both of them are with me.
बच्चों को समझ आया.
Very informative lecture of yours. Thank you. It was very interesting.
That was the aim of Rotary also, to raise your tentacles. That kabhi science ko na chhod. Learn science, live with the science. Learn science, live science, do everything.
I think Professor Dr. Dua has a wonderful art. He can entangle everything, our minds, our thoughts, and can then move forward and disentangle that. So in case your thoughts are still entangled, do come forward and ask questions. I'll just put one quickly, since I don't see any questions now, but members are invited to ask questions. Dr. Dua, I just have one question on the evolution chart. We always see from the past to the present. How do you see that in the future? Where does it go to?
Sanjay ji.
Yes, sir.
Evolution has one time scale, and that is to move towards simplicity. Around 20,000 years back, we could manufacture, we could synthesize as human beings all the 20 amino acids which our body needs for the production of proteins. Okay, understand this part? 20 amino acids, which are the alphabets for making protein. But human beings thought that this is a wastage of energy. They started depending on plants so far as the amino acids are concerned, and they switched off the machinery for the production of their own amino acids. At this time, Sanjay or I.S. Dua or Kent or anyone sitting here can synthesize only 10 amino acids. So we are going towards more simplicity, shedding more work and depending on the other part of it. So as we go ahead, this is moving towards more simplicity, but life, remember, not so. Only aim is to reproduce. Multiplication is the name of game. Every generation, every species wants to play this. Multiplication. Virus also wants to multiply. Men also want to. Please remember one of the very beautiful words that had science not been there, because otherwise the evolution wants 5 of our 9 children to die, and we are to die at the age of 50. But we have increased the longevity to 80 to 90. Look at your great. I see everyone, whomsoever I quote, read about, they died at the age of 72 in the last century. But today, average person in USA or UK at this one, average, leave aside COVID also, is living plus 80. We are moving towards longevity. But there is a limit to that. Because the machinery plays. We work against the nature to live. And that part has to be strengthened by science.
Well, I have already crossed 86. I don't know whether I'm working against the nature or not.
No, right from the time of the birth, you have been working against the nature, because you are working against the law of thermodynamics. You are working against the law of entropy, because the energy you are going to building up the energy must move downhill to get destroyed. But you have produced your genetical duty was to produce children. That once nature wants us to die as soon as we have finished our children. But then we live because of the blessings of Almighty. As you call it Almighty, I call it a science. Thank you.
Mr. Sanjay, if I am permitted to ask a question to Dr. Dua.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Sir, always a pleasure hearing you. Felt very pleased when I saw your notice. My question to you always, because always we get very right answers from mentors like you. So I thought now I see some of the youngsters also on board. So better, I thought that I should ask this. The thought process in science and the scientific discoveries, it is a continuous process and it's been continuing from time immemorial. Sir, I have seen your 30 years and I have also seen my 30 years in scientific pursuits. And probably when we see the past records, some of which is available in our libraries and all, what I find is that what I want to know from you is that how much science is important and what is the need for us to reinvent the science, and how much important is to discover, and how much it is important to synthesize what we know, and how much we have moved from where you left and where I am today. Because I don't see much of the headway. Rather, still we are, going by the books that you taught us. We are still going. Editions have changed, but the books ultimately, the knowledge, it more or less remain the same. So whether we are lacking, we need to do something on the synthesis of the information that we have, or we need to continue the process and sidetrack the synthesis part. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Pupinder, for raising such a basic query. The fact is that science has moved. What you say that 30 years back was the same, it is the fundamentals have remained same. Fundamentals have remained the same. And when we build up on those fundamentals, at that time, we could never produce messenger RNA vaccine in 10 months. You see, Pupinder, it has taken only 300 days to produce the vaccine. And it took 10 years to produce the polio vaccine. 10 years and 300 days. What did it's all because of the effort. And science doesn't mean here to these things which are lying in IRI at your back. No, not at all. It is that how much you are committed to that, how much you apply to that. In very first slide, I said, science is a way of thinking much more than it's a body of knowledge. It's not the body of knowledge, how you start thinking. Somebody last week told me that the night curfew इसलिए लगता है कि रात को वायरस बड़ी active हो जाती है. I felt like slapping. That happened to be sort of a old man, older than me also. I said, if I stop, I'll become, my social distance will become low. But how to tell him that at night is not the reason. We won't have that phytochrome system which measures the day length of day night. Such myths and superstition, they keep on. And your duty as Dr. Pupinder is to check the level of unscientific myths and superstition at all levels, whether it's your maid servant or whether it's your father, uncle, mama, or all your friends. Never let any shoot to move out, to let the myth grow out of that. If you quote Gurbani also, that's full of science. It's like they say in 1561, they said that the word is heliocentric. But in that time, Guru Nanak Dev Ji had already said, Suraj ik rut anek. All those things, you read that and start giving it. Educate your children to become scientifically oriented. As Dr. Vora says, my 2 children are after me day and night to talk about science. Let them wider. There are 6 servants of science. What, where, when, why, who, and when. Or let all these servants rule that child's mind. Always. That's the only way. Knowledge keeps on pouring. You have to apply. That's right. I'm happy that your daughter is also doing very well.
Can I also make a comment here, Professor Dua? And that is, there's one place, especially in the human body, and that is eye, ophthalmology, where science has really made a huge progress.
I agree.
Every year or every alternate year, we find out, our scientists find out something new, new innovations, new parts of the anatomy of the same eye, which we've studied like for like 200-300 years. But, we find out new things every single day. And of course, based on that, we have the new surgeries, which we could never think about. Like when you were talking about the gene therapy, they're even saying like for retinitis pigmentosa and other diseases, that they can be gene therapy, macular degeneration, for example, diabetic retinopathy. So there's huge advantage.
You talked about it when you came to Chandigarh, and at that time also we discussed that it's a wonderful one. And LV Prasad Hospital in Hyderabad is known for this stem cell retinopathy in India.
Correct. Yeah.
Very highly quoted, but in your country it's quite available because the cells are available in plenty.
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
That's very
lovely lecture. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. I see a hand raised by past Minister Vinod Kumar Jawad. Sir, do you have a question, Jawad sir?
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
So, knowing Dr. Dua's love for cricket and, since he mentioned longevity, it's just
no voice.
Okay. Yeah, I said it's knowing your love for cricket and what you were talking of longevity. I got this on my school group a few days ago that the entire team of 11 Australian cricketers who played the first one day versus England in 1971, they are all still alive. That includes the Chappell brothers, Alan Thompson, Rodney Marsh, and all, and the average age they computed was about 76.8.
Yes, very good.
So that speaks of the longevity that you're saying, the lifespan increasing.
My prayers are for 18th of this month when we play the World Cup final.
Yes. So since there are no more questions, I would I take pleasure in inviting our past president Ajit Singh Gulati ji for the expression of gratitude.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Oh, very nice to see you.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yesterday when Suchi told me that I have to propose a vote of thanks, I asked her what is the subject, and she told me that the incredible life sciences, a lot to know. I thought before I listened to Professor Dua's talk, in case I could ask Google Baba something about this subject, and the reply which I got was that I don't have anything with me. You will have to listen to Professor Dua on the subject. So here we are. Professor Saab, Punjabi ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿਰਫ ਇਹ ਕਵਾਂਗਾ, Dua Saab ਤੁਸੀਂ great ਹੋ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੋਈ ਮੁਕਾਬਲਾ ਨਹੀਂ. So much in-depth study of the research work carried out by numerous scientists referred to in your talk, and the presentation being made so simple and interesting so that we could understand each and everything what you said. Unimaginable aspect of science and its interpretation. Sir, I have always been told by my Rotary Guru that the vote of thanks should be very crisp so that the taste of the talk continues with the people who have been listening to you for the past 45 minutes. It was very interesting. And I think if we keep listening to such interesting talks by Professor Dua, we are going to produce many virtual PhDs in our club. I would simply say, Professor, you are an asset to Rotary Midtown. You are an asset to the society. And we always pray for your long life so that all the knowledge which you have, you keep passing on to the society and to Rotarians of Midtown. Thank you so much for your wonderful talk.
Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You are matchless over your combination of turban and the t-shirt.
No, Professor, you are great. You are great. You have really, this talk of yours, I think it was out of the world.
Thank you.
And I think it will take a lot of time for us to digest it, and maybe we come and sit with you sometime and repeat the whole thing and listen to it once again. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Wow. Ji, Sat Shri Akal ji, Dua Saab.
Sat Shri Akal ji, theek ho?
It was a good topic.
Tusi the kitchen smile lagde ho na. You are listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pasman Gulati ji. I couldn't agree with you more. I know that when we start reading newspapers tomorrow morning onwards, instead of Google Baba, I think we'll have to come back and ask Dr. Dua to explain when we look at terms in a different way.
Yeah.
Even there's a very common idiom, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, which we learn in our English language. I think Dr. Dua gave a totally different dimension to it when he said the cells, depending where they are, whether in the alimentary canal or in the heart, that is what it reminded me. Even a cell believes in that, when in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Very
Yeah.
So with that, thank you so much, Dr. Dua, and it was really wonderful. I would like to now invite our Secretary Shuchi Thakur for the announcements.
Thank you, Sanjay sir. We have the birthdays of spouse Suman Gupta on 14th of June and Rotarian Anjali Chabra on 15th of June. Congratulations, Anjali. Are you there? I think she might have left. Anyways, back to you, Sanjay sir.
Thank you. Best wishes to both of them. And I know we are missing the cake cutting this year, but hopefully things would improve. And next year we have a cake man, President-elect Salil Chopra. I'm sure we would come back to our old habits of cutting the cake for the celebrating birthday celebrations, individuals, members, spouses, and also for the anniversary. Is there anything, since we had a lot of guests, is there anything else that anyone wants to say, or others we'll call this meeting to a close?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, Icha ma'am, you want to speak, say something?
Myself, Icha Purak. I want to thank Professor I.S. Dua for wonderful and informative deliberation. Thanks once again.
Let me introduce Professor Icha Purak. She is head of the department at Ranchi University.
Yeah. You're most welcome, sir.
All right.
We are waiting for you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for joining this meeting today. You asked for the recording also. We put it on YouTube and we will definitely share the link with you.
Sanjay ji, this is Professor Amrik Singh Ahluwalia, Vice Chancellor of
yes, sir. Would you like to say something, sir?
Well, it's a wonderful lecture by my very, very senior colleague, brother-like colleague, Professor Dua, and we have been, listening to him, and there have been many lectures which go on for 2 hours with discussion and so on. And he's really, I should say, a rare combination of knowledge, history, evolution, and with anecdote as well. Today, I think he has not gone for more of anecdote in between, but wonderfully, well prepared presentation, which took us to many facets of our evolution in life. And I would like to compliment that, we will have some other time too from, Professor Dua getting some more and more information about, a variety of topics in life sciences, of which he is an expert really.
Thank you.
All my best wishes, sir.
Thank you.
And
thank you very
for very, very good health for you and Madam Dua and so on. So please carry on.
I'm happy.
Really taken up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's all your blessings and good wishes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahluwalia, for being with us and for such wonderful words. I think the anecdotes were also hinted at when Professor Dua was, taking names of members on different slides. Pasman Luther, myself, Kanan ma'am, and then he went on to the film actresses. So I think that itself is a sort of a twist he brings in his presentation. I definitely agree with you. Dua sir, is there any other guests who would like to speak? I think Professor Bhatnagar, I see his hand raised.
Professor Bhatnagar is Dean Mir University.
Yes.
So, very good evening, Professor Dua and all the Rotarians who have very kindly invited me to join this wonderful meeting. I had been an admirer of Professor Dua's lecture, for the last 20 years when I first heard him at Indian Veterinary Research Institute in Bareilly. I had been the founder of Society for Plant Research, and Professor Dua had been one of our past president. And incidentally, we are having 2 of our life members and past presidents, Professor A.S. Ahluwalia and now present Vice President Professor Icha Purak. So I was delighted to listen to his lecture, and I always admire the way he presents very small things in a big way and very big things in a very small way, so that we can understand each and every point of the lecture. And the way he presents is always adorable. Thank you, Professor Dua, for inviting me to this evening. Thank you very much.
Mr. Bhatnagar, I always remember you every day.
Thank you, sir. This has been probably a mini reunion, I think, when you all have known him for so long, and so nice to have all of you back here today and hear such nice things.
Thank you. It's all because of you.
Nice. Thank you.
So, right from the Rotary year is from July to June, and when we started last year, and when I started as the president, I did tell Professor Dr. Dua we are definitely going to have at least one, if not more, lectures. But he kept pushing, to have guest speakers, and so I think in a way we saved the best for the last. My term ends end of this month, and I'm glad we could have Professor Dua this evening. And definitely we would want more opportunities to keep hearing him, sir.
Sure.
And with this, we adjourn this meeting.